Welcome everyone to another episode of 4Player Network's Audible Impressions. I am your host, editor, and broadcaster at 4playernetwork.com, Jeffrey DeMello, and with me is 4Player Podcasts host and future broadcaster and overall nice guy at 4Player, Nick Henderson. What's up, Nick?
I'm doing good. That's so sweet of you. I'm nice? I didn't know I was nice. And it felt good to hear you say future broadcaster.
Yes.
We should be getting our... most of the components for our broadcast setup are actually on the truck being delivered as we speak.
Cool. We'll have to make sure we see a lot more of you on the feed for sure.
Oh, you will, now that I can just walk into my living room instead of having to drive 30 minutes to Brad's.
Ooh, I didn't know you guys drove 30 minutes to Brad's.
Yeah.
So, you know what else is cool? Dishonored.
Yeah, it is.
That's what we came here to talk about on this Audible Impressions. And since, we've got plenty of coverage on the mother podcast for the site, on Dishonored, I figured we'd talk a little bit more about spoiler stuff at the end, and maybe more stuff that we thought was kind of not so good about the game, or that we had a hard time swallowing for the most part.
Yeah, because we did spend a good chunk of time blowing that game, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Okay, so I guess I'll go first, since... I don't know why, but I'm going to go first.
Because you're the host.
So, above all things, I'm not... we were slightly beginning to get into this before we decided to keep recording. This generation, outside of Metal Gear Solid and the Metal Gear Solid series in general, is like the only stealth game I've really played.
Oh, wow.
This gen is when I started to open up to stealth games a little bit more. I started with like Hitman, Blood Money, and then I played Deus Ex. Then I went backwards and played the original Deus Ex, which I played back in the day on PC because I was a huge PC gamer back then. But like, I never finished games when I was younger for whatever reason. Like, I had a low attention span. So as far as Dishonored goes, the thing I like most about it, I think a lot of people are going to agree with me, is like just the world, the universe, the art style, everything art in that game is top notch. You know, the art design and just the whole aesthetic behind the game is the thing that like really got my attention, even more so than like the skills and all those abilities and we'll talk about that a little bit more in like the dislike stuff, but I think the universe itself is really what drove me to really enjoy Dishonored, and just how everything looked and all that, you know?
I mean, that doesn't really surprise me, especially because one of the lead designers who worked on Half-Life 2 had a big hand in designing the world of this game and developing the universe.
Yep.
And you can see a lot of the influences from Half-Life 2, or at least some of the influences that shaped his work on that game, kind of poking through in this game. That game and that universe in general is universally beloved. So it doesn't surprise me that people are latching onto the world in Dishonored. I feel the exact same way. It's really well developed. Not even just the stuff that's in your face, like that you're seeing on a moment-to-moment basis. Just the little things you can pick up on by reading the books and overhearing conversations and listening to the heart, which a lot of probably forgot to do. I mean, I know I forgot to do it as much as I would have liked, but little things like that really helped build that universe outside of just the core experience, which was great.
I think like when I first came across Dishonored, it didn't even cross my mind that like, oh shit, this is a stealth game. You know what I mean? So
the funny thing is, we keep even I referred to it as a stealth game in that article I wrote the other day, and the funny thing is, it doesn't even have to be a stealth game at all. Like, you can play this game in a completely opposite frame of mind, but I think largely the game is inadvertently directed towards playing in that style. What you mentioned before, I definitely agree with. The world itself is fantastic, and and the story, the way the plot unfolds, or at least the way they lead you into the plot at the beginning, really had my attention. There's a few. The plot is kind of minimalistic in a lot of ways because they lead you into it and they set up this big grand assassination at the beginning, and this, can't think of the word right now, conspiracy that you're playing through or trying to figure out throughout the game, and that was really interesting. But as soon as you get past that first level, it's kind of takes a backseat to the gameplay, and they kind of revisit that periodically, at the end of mainly when you're in the hub world. But when you're in each particular level, you're just kind of playing it to accomplish a mission. And then at the very end it kind of comes back into play. But the stuff in between is pretty minimalistic. But for some reason I still felt really connected to the world and the motivations of the characters and stuff. And I think that was a pretty big accomplishment on their part. So I love the story. I love the visual aspect of the game, and obviously I do want to say I love the mechanics. But y'all have heard what I've thought about the mechanics in the main podcast, so I'll kind of just bounce some stuff off of you when you start talking about your dislikes.
Okay, so things I disliked about the game are, man, I had at first, in the first 3 hours of that game, I struggled to understand when I was hidden, when I was not, when an idiot was going to see me. I struggled so hard, dude. I was like, I'm in the shadows. They can't see me. Halt! I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean? And initially, I had told myself, no, if I get caught, I'm going to play it Hitman style. And Hitman, when I get caught, I'm in. You know what I mean? I'm getting out. I'm not reloading. I'm finishing it however it was meant to be played.
It's about adaptability.
Yeah, I didn't do that here in the beginning because I wanted to really understand those mechanics and how I'm seen. So I guess what I'm saying is they don't identify that enough. They don't give you enough to know when you're seen. I don't know the rules. I'm 3 stories up on one point, right? I'm way up higher above the city, and a guy comes walking out of an alleyway, and then he sees me, and I'm like, how the hell did he see me? I'm way the fuck up here.
Wait, what difficulty did you play on?
I played normal.
And he saw you on a roof?
Yeah, they saw me up high, and I was
I never spotted when I was on a roof.
I've had that happen 3-4 times. Now I played on the PS3, so maybe that's.
I don't see the AI being that much different between
consoles. Yeah, me either.
That's weird, but I don't know. One thing I do kind of applaud this game for when it comes to stealth, and a lot of games resort to this really cheap and, in my opinion, annoying effect. It's kind of similar to the jelly vision that we always complain about when you get shot. But when you're going to cover, all of a sudden everything kind of gets black and white or something that kind of indicates to you that you're hidden. And it's nice to know that when you're hidden, but I'm glad that Dishonored doesn't resort to that because in my experience, I never really had a moment where I was confused as to whether I was exposed or not. There's one point at the beginning of the game where someone tells you, or the tutorial tells you, that if you crouch and you're behind an object, you're hidden. And if you do the hold down Y and lean out, did you do that a lot?
Yes, I leaned a lot.
Okay, because when you lean out, even if you lean out and you're in perfect, you can see your target. If you lean out and they can't see you, as long as your actual body is behind cover and you lean out, you're still hidden. So you can lean out and get a grip on the environment and stuff without having to expose yourself, which was nice. Any other game would kind of give you some kind of X-ray vision or indicator or really detailed enemy map or sonar or something that would show you where the enemies are, and they don't really resort to much of that stuff. They do give you the vision that you can turn on and off, which I believe is an optional ability. You don't even have to get it, but I'm sure most people do.
Yeah.
But more than anything, I just appreciate not having that shitty black and white effect, because especially in a stealth game, when you're going to spend most of your time hidden, that means you'd be spending most of your time in black and white, which would kind of destroy the visual beauty of that world. Kind of like Batman Arkham Asylum, where you spent so much time with that X-ray vision on that it kind of killed the artistic style of the game. And there were even times in this game where I spent, I think, more time than I would have liked in that vision mode. But
right, the heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. I spent a lot of time in that heartbeat, to be honest.
Yeah.
Especially when like looking for runes or them bone fragments and stuff.
Yeah, and the thing is, I found myself using it more for that stuff than it was when I was stalking like an enemy or trying to avoid an enemy. I mean, I use it a lot when I was trying to avoid an enemy, but I would usually like turn it on just to kind of look around real fast and see where everybody is, and then I would turn it off to actually move around about the environment. I wouldn't leave it on while I was moving. The biggest complaint I have, and I've played a few other stealth games. I didn't finish Blood Money, but I played about half of it. I'm a big Metal Gear Solid fan. I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan, and I played. My experience with Splinter Cell is not the most. I've basically only played Conviction. Which
me too.
but I had kind of the same problem with Conviction, and that, and this is what I talked about in my article the other day. Is basically, when they put me in these are very cinematic, story-driven games, but at the same time they're based around stealth. But they put you in the shoes of these characters that are very like powerful and action hero kind of characters that you don't want to see stumble. You don't want to you don't want to see them fuck up. So the moment I would like fuck something up and like alarm would be raised or dude would be chasing me and I was like showing the slightest bit of weakness, I would be like, I fucked it up, and then I'd reload the game. Because I have a very clear picture in my mind of how like the experience I want to have with this game. I want to feel like a badass. I want to feel like that action hero that I watched in the movies. And the moment, even if it's easy, even if I could easily escape that situation, I'm just like, fuck it. It's not how I envisioned this scenario. So I reloaded way more than I would have liked. And I know that's kind of a mental thing. It's just kind of something I had to get over. But that's just something that is really cool to watch in movies. Because in movies, when an action hero fucks up, it's like, holy shit, how's he get out of this? But he finds some sweet, kick-ass, suave way to get out of this scenario. And that doesn't transition well.
No.
Or very often it doesn't transition well. But I think Dishonored actually does it pretty well, because the moments where I said, fuck it, I'm not giving up, led to some of my favorite moments in the game. And a lot of that is because of the mechanics, because of that blink ability. Like the moment I kill someone and some dude spots me, and before he can even sound off oh my god, or call for help, I blink and I'm standing right in front of him and I just jam a knife through his head.
Right.
And that is so awesome, and it was like a split second reaction. And there's moments where I've been I realized that I was just overwhelmed. There's 5 dudes chasing me, and I was just like, fuck it, I gotta run. And I just started blinking, and I was just blinking farther and farther away until I can get to a point where I could, go vertical or something where they wouldn't see me. And that stuff feels really awesome.
Yeah.
But they also tie that stuff directly into your chaos level, which probably leads me to my biggest complaint, because pretty early on in the game, I ended up with a high chaos level because of I was refusing to reload. I was killing people when I had to, and that ultimately just really quickly jumped up my chaos level. And I spent the next 4 or 5 levels trying to bring that back down, and I never went down. And we talked about it last night, but I think I don't even think you can bring it down, honestly. Once it gets up there, I don't know if there's anything you can do to lower it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that kind of bums me out, because I was trying real hard. I even made some decisions that I would have not have made otherwise, like letting high-profile mission critical targets survive, like finding the non-lethal way to kill them, which I was doing because I wanted to bring down my chaos level.
Yep.
Because I would have much rather gone through some sweet-ass assassination where I took these dudes down and got out of there without anybody knowing. But unfortunately, I was just like, I gotta get my chaos level down, so I guess I'm gonna let you live and just send you on your way. And that kind of sucked.
Right. You know what? Your complaint about reloading and stuff like that. That's almost not even necessarily Dishonored's thing.
I think it's more of a general complaint about the
genre, right? And I had brought up that they need to take cues from games like Forza and allowing us to have a 1-minute rewind, that you can rewind 1 minute of your gameplay. And I know that wouldn't tie in, or maybe they could find a way to tie that into the game. It would obviously break lore in some cases, but I think the developers that are making stealth games have to find a way to do that. Because racing games had the same problem. You know what I mean? In a racing game, you would play a 15-minute race, and then if you screw up the last turn, the race is over. You got to do it all over again because you lost pole position. And Forza found a way around that, and I think stealth games will eventually get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think the reason I think Dishonored does it better than most is because of the amount of freedom they give you. Because you can literally, if you can, for the most part, if you can see something, you can get to it, especially with that blink ability. And they don't really, even if they don't really like put any locked doors in front of you that you can't open. If there's a door that's locked, there's usually a key somewhere hidden in that world. And if you see like an air duct or something, if you can find a good vantage point and get close enough to it, you can blink onto it, or you can chain a jump together with a blink and like blink midway, like mid jump, to try and get somewhere that you couldn't have otherwise gotten. And that freedom really gives you a lot of options, so that if you get caught and you go into like a foot chase and you're being pursued by someone, you have the options. You have different avenues you can take, different abilities you can use to avoid that situation and get out of it. And I think it's just a mental thing. Like I think a lot of players should really focus on that, and instead of reloading in frustration, instead try and think on your feet and use those mechanics to elude the situation. It's just, I think a lot of people are so set in that frame of mind, myself included, after having played Splinter Cell and Metal Gear and Hitman. Well, Hitman is probably, I think this game has more in common with Hitman than any other stealth game in the genre, because that game also gives you a shit ton of freedom.
Right.
And the levels are very open, like a Hitman game, which is great.
The ending, dude, I didn't like.
Yeah?
I was really, like, with the amount of lore and amount of stuff that I got from the game when scanning people with the heart, and I read a lot of the books and notes and audio logs, like, I didn't want my ending to be literally a 2-minute montage that just said, and so this guy did this, and this girl did this, and that's the end. Good night.
It really wasn't a pretty abrupt ending. I've seen worse when it comes to abrupt endings.
Yeah.
But go play Jericho if you're wondering what I'm talking about.
No thanks.
But yeah, like for a game that was so focused on building its lore, it really did. It didn't do the game justice to just wrap it up so quickly.
Right.
And that's something they can definitely expand upon if they do decide to make a sequel, which I heard they're kind of trying to decide whether to actually do that or not at this point. But yeah, I think this game ultimately, when it comes down to it, while the story I think is interesting and cool, the story itself is what kind of plays out. Like I almost want, if you look at it more instead of looking at that last cutscene as the ending, I think it's probably a better idea to look at that entire last level.
Yeah, the last ending. 2 chapters.
Because that's where me and Mike discovered last night the endings are completely different.
Okay, let's discuss this.
Okay, see, this is where it differs. Because in my game, since I had a high chaos level. First of all, just a real small, minute difference, which I didn't realize, which is really cool. That last level you played, where you go to get revenge. Describe the weather or the environment in that level.
So I pull up in the boat, right? It's a huge ass complex, like really cool looking complex. It was like I'd say like 5 o'clock ish. Like the sky was kind of getting dim, pinkish. Yeah. It wasn't raining. I know I heard you say last night's podcast that it was rainy for you and thundery, but none of that stuff for me. It was just pretty.
Did Samuel the boatman say anything to you before you departed the boat? And
yeah, he said that this would probably be his last trip with me, and then he said something like negative, and he was like, "Get off the boat."
Okay, yeah, that happened to me too. I'm not sure what sparked that, and I'm wondering if that happens either way, or if that's something that is sparked from a decision you made prior to that. Because he got angry at me.
Okay, maybe I ended on high chaos then.
I mean, it doesn't, because when I went into that mission, the little girl was still in their in captivity. The people that betrayed you still had her. So my mission at the end was actually to go save her, not necessarily to get revenge. I mean, getting revenge was definitely part of it, but my primary mission was to bring her back because she was still...
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. And then you have to let her go, then you have to make your way back. Like, I let her go first, and then followed her down to the exit for the boat, and then she said, I'll see you after, and then I went back to finish up the rest of my, my mission points.
See, I didn't even find her until the last moment of the entire game. Like, cool. in my game, you find her on... you eventually confront the main villain of the game. And he is on the very, very, very top of his tower, out on this, like, ledge, and he's trying to... He's like, wrestling with her because she's trying to escape, and he's trying to, like, hold her captive, either to, like, throw her off, like, and kill her, or, like, use her as leverage to survive when I approach him to kill him. And the last thing I had to do in that entire game is it's rainy, there's lightning everywhere, there's like I'm in this like glass room and you can see the rain coming down on the sides of the house, and you just walk out on this ledge and it's cloudy, you can't even see anything, and he's standing at the edge holding her I think around the throat, or he's like picking her up off the ground and holding her in front of him, and I have to take him out without killing her.
Oh yeah, I didn't have any of that.
Yeah, so and it's cool because I actually went back and played it twice, trying to see if there's a different way to do it. Because what I did was I literally he was wrestling with her, and before he even saw me, because he started he looked up, saw me, and I could see him start to reach for her and like pull her towards him, so like he could use her as a shield or something. Yeah. And I had blink equipped when I went up there, so I just fucking blinked at him like I would a regular enemy, and did the quick attack, and it went into this sweet ass animation where he tried to like stab me, and I stabbed him through the hand, or through like his lower arm, and then shot himself in the face with his own gun, and then he fell to his death.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That sounds so much cooler than what happened.
Yeah, it was badass, and I went back a second time to see if I can do it a different way, and I ended up finding an entirely different pathway that led me up the it's like, I don't know, this maintenance tunnel or something in that same building that actually, instead of leading me to his like bedroom or his office, whatever, that led out to that ledge, it actually brought me up just to the right, like behind him, so he didn't even see me coming, and I just walked up behind him and like slit his throat and dropped him off the edge, and he didn't even know I was there. So I feel like you can probably play that in several different ways. But what the hell happened in your game? I was so confused because Mike was like, yeah, it was bright sun in my... Because he said he got low... Because he played that game and didn't kill anybody for the most part. He killed like a total of 5 people the entire game. And he had low chaos. And he said it was a bright, sunny day on that mission, which even sounds different than what you had.
Well, apparently you can not even rescue Emily.
Yeah,
from what I've heard.
Yeah, I would imagine, because like I think if you don't react fast enough, he probably throws her off that ledge or something, or kills her, or I don't know. But I also had this very like dark twist kind of at the end, like, because once you save her, you realize that your choice to like murder everyone around her has kind of like twisted her and made her kind of a dark person. So you killed Havelock, right? Yes.
See, I killed Pendleton and Martin.
Wait, you killed them, or because in my game Pendleton died?
Kills. Yeah, no, wait. In your game, Havoc kills them too, don't they?
Yeah. Well, in my game, one of the other bad guys shot Pendleton, and when I found Pendleton, it's funny because I wanted to kill Pendleton more than anyone in that game.
Yeah, right.
I hated that guy, and I come across him, and he has a bullet wound in his chest or in his stomach, and he's like dying in a corner, and he talks to you for like a second and then dies, and I was like, what the fuck?
What?
So
that's weird.
Did you actually get to like take him out in your game?
Yeah, so I got to kill him, and I killed Martin, and then like I said, I escaped with Emily. Well, first of all, I killed Pendleton first, then I used the heart, and I seen where Emily was, and it was kind of close to my location, so I went, I took Emily out, I got her out, I followed her like through this back alley, and then I let her out, and then she said she'd wait for me at the boat, and then I went back up to kill Martin, and then I just went back to the boat. So it was kind of anticlimactic for me.
Wait, you didn't even kill Havelock? Havelock, the last guy I killed. He was the guy that was holding her hostage on top of in that giant tower.
I didn't dive into a lot of the stuff the game has. Like, apparently, you could have people kill people for you if you do like
in fact,
side quests.
I did that. The Pendleton brothers in the brothel.
Yeah.
I never even saw them.
Oh, yeah. I killed them.
I had someone not kill them. I had a side character, Slackjaw. Did you ever meet Slackjaw?
Yeah. I remember Slackjaw.
You save him from the hag.
Yeah,
in the game.
Yep. Like that Slackjaw thing, I didn't do anything with him after the initial thing you do with him.
Yeah. So in the brothel mission, I never even saw the targets. The two brothers, the Pendleton brothers.
Yeah.
I met Slackjaw and ended up doing a few favors for him, and then in return, he went into the brothel and he took care of them for me. But he didn't kill them. He took them. He kidnapped them, took them into the mines, and cut out their tongue so they couldn't tell anybody who they were, and forced them to work as laborers down there.
Right.
And he disfigured their face or something so people wouldn't recognize them. I don't remember, but basically took them out without killing them, which is pretty cool. Which sucks because that was the mission where I really wanted to go in and wreak some havoc, but I didn't.
Right.
And there's also in one of the missions you can apparently find this brand that they use on. I forget what they call them, the soldiers in the game, or whatever. But if you're branded with this brand, then you're considered an outsider and you're not welcome anywhere by the government anymore. It's like branding you a traitor, basically. But when you do something that doesn't warrant a death, but you have betrayed them in some way, they banish you by branding you this, so you can't go anywhere. And you can take that brand and you can brand your target. And the moment someone sees him, they're like, "Oh shit, you've been branded. You got to get out of here." And he's banished, and he can never come back. And so I don't even know how many little things like that there are throughout the game. But I mean, those two really awesome examples, and that's just 2 levels. I'm pretty sure there's a pretty there's a comparable strategy you can use in most of those levels.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Those are probably the 2 shining examples of why this game is so great.
Yeah.
And there's all. I mean, I think most levels in that game were special. Like they all had something cool. But I never felt like one level was tired or bored. I think that game all around had a really great level design, and it's probably one of the big strong suits of that game.
Right. Okay, so if Corvo saves Emily, right, she takes place as Empress on the throne with
Yes.
Corvo at her side. If your chaos is low, a golden age dawns as the plague is overcome. As many decades pass, Corvo dies of natural causes and is buried beside the Empress Jasmine by Emily. If your chaos is high, the city remains in turmoil and is overrun by the plague. If Corvo doesn't manage to save Emily, the Empire crumbles and Corvo flees from the Empire by ship, never to return. So
Gotcha.
Those apparently are the 3 or...
I got the second option. The thing is, she still becomes the Empress in my game, but she was also you get this subtle hint that she has been kind of negatively affected by all the events around her. Like she talks about how even if I didn't kill the traitors, that she was going to have them killed, and she seems very happy about it, about the idea of murdering these people.
Right.
And it kind of suggests that you saved her, but you didn't necessarily save her.
Right.
Which is kind of cool. But all those endings are pretty quick. They wrap up in 2 minutes, and they just kind of leave you with this cool looking exit video, but it's not an engine. It's I don't know. It just feels kind of tacked on at the end.
It's montagey. It feels like a video montage of just clips of the city and things that would have happened. Okay, last minute of things. Emily, did you have a emotional response to Emily? You hug a lot in this game.
Yeah, you do. I did. I do want to say I don't think the voice acting in this game is bad.
No.
But there are points in this game where especially in the girl, where it felt a little forced and it didn't seem on par with some of the other actors in the game.
Yeah.
Like some of her dialogue was kind of rigid, which made it a little harder for me to connect with her. But yeah, like that, especially at the beginning, I definitely like I wasn't expecting to step off the boat and have her treat me like a father kind of figure.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was cool, and then playing hide and seek with her, which was really
See, I didn't do that. I didn't do the hide and seek, and I'm so mad that I didn't.
I mean, the thing is, I did that level twice because I started the game over on hard, and it's cool, but I don't think they take it very far because she like looks around for you, but she never really moves from her spot. She just kind of like glances around no matter where you hide, and then she's like, "Okay, that was fun. I can't find you. Let's go," and then it's over. So I mean, I like what they were trying to do there. I think they could have taken it farther.
Yeah, I was gonna say the reason I asked was because like I didn't really have an emotional response. Same thing with you when you first get off the boat and you meet Emily, you're like, oh, okay, like the introduction is kind of well done, and after a while I felt like I just got lost in the intrigue of the world, and then she was like just tossed in every now and then as a reminder, like, oh, Emily's here, don't forget.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it might even play out differently depending on how you found her the first time, because when you first find her in the brothel, I stumbled across her in the brothel. I didn't even know she was there. I wasn't even looking for her. I thought I was looking for a clue to find out where she was, and then I walk into this room and she was there, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta get you out of here. And I took her, and I let her, and similar to what you said, I took her out of the level and let her out a door and said, stay here, I'm gonna go finish what I had to do. And from that moment forward, it felt kind of like I'm her protector kind of thing, which is cool. And then they do a lot of things where, like, when you go to the hub world, they'll ask you, do you want to go to bed, or do you want to go say goodnight to Emily? And I would usually be like, all right, I'm going to go to bed, but first I'm going to go check on Emily. And making the decision to do that kind of stuff kind of helped build that relationship. And then at the moment where there's the twist of fate and they betray you and all this stuff happens, I felt this, like, I wasn't super connected to her, but I felt immediately like tense, and I was like, piece of shit. It wasn't just about me being betrayed. Like, now they have this girl again, and I had, at that point, I had been like checking on her before she went to bed and going to talk to her in the hub world, and I felt like I was doing all this stuff kind of for her benefit. So I felt kind of connected to her in that sense. So that when in that last level, when I finally went to go get revenge, I was like, what's the most violent way I can take these fuckers out? And like I said last night, I walked up to Martin. I came across him in a room, and he didn't even know I was there. I just kind of opened the door, and there he was. I was standing there thinking for a second, do I want to just sneak behind him and slit his throat, or what do I want to do? And I was like, fuck it. I just summoned a bunch of rats, like, right under his feet and just watched them devour him, and then just, like, walked out.
Right.
And, like, that shit felt really satisfying. And to see at the very end when he was about to throw her off that ledge, I was just like, I gotta take him out. At that point, I didn't even care about trying to do it non-lethally. I just blinked up to him and, stabbed him in the throat and threw him off the thing because I didn't want him to kill her. In some sense, the action was effective. I mean, I think they could have built it more, made it more emotional. But I definitely felt that connection. But then again, these games, I take these games probably a little more seriously than some people. Like, I know Brad plays the game primarily for the
gameplay.
Just the gameplay, and yeah. I'm the kind of person when I play these games, I try and identify the characters. I try and act in the game accordingly to, or how I think that character in the game would.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I tend to try and make the narrative cohesive by my actions,
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, I definitely felt that pull, and I felt angry. I think that twist, even though I kind of saw the twist coming, when it happened, I was like, I felt upset. I was like, God damn it, I can't believe these people did this. And it just kind of made I felt more motivated to kill in that last level than I would have otherwise.
Yeah, I did too, totally. Okay, well, Dishonored, great game.
Great game, definitely.
For sure. Thanks, Nick.
Anytime.
All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one.
Yep, fourplayernetwork.com.